While most investors are licking their wounds from Bitcoin's 22% plunge, Wall Street legend Tom Lee is doing something completely different. He's doubling down on what might be the boldest Bitcoin prediction of 2025. The Fundstrat co-founder isn't just staying bullish, he's calling for a massive surge to $250,000 by year-end. Bitcoin's sitting at around $82,000 right now, but Lee isn't blinking. Not even close. In fact, he's more confident than ever that Bitcoin is headed to the moon this year. Quick disclaimer before we jump in, this isn't financial advice, folks. Always do your homework before putting your money anywhere. Let's be real, after nearly touching the $100,000 mark in February, it's pulled back about 22% from its all-time high. We saw it bottom out around $76,600 earlier this month before climbing back to today's levels. Meanwhile, gold has been shining bright, climbing past $3,000 and up nearly 14% this year, while Bitcoin's actually down about 10% since January. This has some investors questioning Bitcoin's digital gold narrative. But Tom Lee, he couldn't care less about this short-term noise. Lee just went on CNBC and absolutely stunned viewers by not just standing by his earlier Bitcoin predictions. He's doubling down on them. Bitcoin is still our favorite idea for this year, Lee told Andrew Ross Sorkin with total conviction. We think it'll be the best performing asset class, even better than gold. When pressed about the recent drop, Lee brushed it off like it was nothing. Bitcoin's down roughly 15% from its highs, which for a hyper-volatile asset is a pretty normal correction. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. Lee is still targeting $250,000 for Bitcoin by the end of 2025. Let that sink in. That's a nearly 200% gain from current levels. The most jaw-dropping moment came when Sorkin asked about buying at current prices. Lee didn't hesitate for a second. I don't think anyone's going to lose money buying here at $90,000. If they're trying to time this, maybe they'll get lucky and it goes to $70. But to me, Bitcoin could be significantly higher this year. Maybe 200, 250. So I think 90 is still a good entry point. That's Lee essentially pounding the table that even after Bitcoin's insane run, he sees another potential triple from here. He's basically saying today's prices will look like an absolute bargain by year end. Sure, he mentioned Bitcoin could touch $70,000 or even the $50,000 in the near term based on Fibonacci retracement levels, but emphasized these would just be temporary dips, not new sustained lows. What makes Lee so darn confident? He sees a convergence of massive forces creating the perfect environment for Bitcoin to absolutely explode higher. First, he's bullish on the current administration's economic policies, saying that while they might look very disruptive at the moment, their structural impact is really positive. Second, he points to tangible drivers of productivity, including AI and the financial revolution being driven by crypto as fundamental tailwinds. And third, though he didn't say it explicitly, we're in a post-halving year historically when Bitcoin makes its biggest moves. When you step back and look at Lee's track record and the conviction in his latest statements, it's hard not to get excited about Bitcoin's potential from here. While it's underperformed gold so far in 2025, Lee's suggesting this trend is about to flip dramatically. His $250,000 target would make this year's temporary weakness look like the tiniest blip on Bitcoin's long-term chart. And you've got to respect Lee's long-term vision over the day-to-day price swings. As he put it, Bitcoin is something you need to be long-term focused on. He's not getting caught up in the short-term volatility that shakes out so many crypto investors. If Lee's right, and he's been right plenty of times before, we could be looking at one of the most explosive Bitcoin rallies in history unfolding right before our eyes over the coming months. The big question is, will this be the year Bitcoin finally breaks into mainstream consciousness as not just a speculative asset, but the financial revolution Lee clearly believes it is? For now, Bitcoin trades at around $82,000, and one of Wall Street's smartest minds is practically shouting from, on the rooftops that it's headed to $250,000 this year. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, that's a prediction that's impossible to ignore. I'll be watching this story like a hawk and bringing you all the updates as Bitcoin either proves Lee right or wrong in what's shaping up to be a defining year for cryptocurrency.